Hello everyone and welcome back to the Crucible. I am Lumi, your host, once again joined by the amazing Light Rose and Chaka on cast. To just give a real quick recap, we did just watch Up Next versus 1HP. Up Next was able to win that in a 7-3 victory. 1HP, we are saying goodbye to them. They will no longer be in play-ins up next. But to talk about what's up next, despite me saying those combination of words like 5 times already, we are about to watch Outlast versus Shreds. So to take a quick look at these teams, Chaka, Shreds did just pick up Glow Emoji and they're looking a bit better, but they are currently locked in the 5th place of their group. What else can you tell us about them?
That's a big emphasis on better. I'm gonna be completely honest because this team, they have the same issue that Up Next and 1HP have, but their issues are more tied to their behind the scenes actions. I had a talk with one of their players, I believe it was Jam, who kind of gave me a little bit of highlight. This team doesn't really scrim much. They've also had a good rotation of players. So they don't really have much team chemistry, and you can tell when they play against teams that that's a really big issue for them.
Well, hopefully that doesn't hinder them too much tonight as we take a look at their opponent. Light Rose, this team, being Outlast, just also made a recent roster change. They picked up Nyx, and they are already locked there in playoffs. They're second in their group, so they're looking pretty good. But what else can you give us?
I think they're incredibly unpredictable. They have a lot of mixes from older Outlast rosters, and then you throw Anki into the mix after Element 4 from One of the Great Aces, and then Nyx as well, and it's like shaking up a soda. It's not gonna explode until you open up the cap, but something's brewing in there, and it's impossible to see whether or not you're going to have that giant explosion or whether it's just going to fizzle out and fall flat.
Well, we will have to figure out what map we are shaking up a soda can on. So, Chaka, can you tell me a bit what you're seeing with these map bans?
Yeah, so I'm surprised that Outlast actually banned Border because I thought this was one of their favorite maps. That's the second ban in a map pool. I'm not too surprised to see Cafe going by them because this is a permaban for Outlast. And then we move on to Shreds. They don't like Lair. Same to most tier 2 teams that aren't SSG or Cruelty, so that's not too surprising. And Shreds also do not like Lab. So that leads us, once again, to Clubhouse. And I think both teams really do like Clubhouse. And when I was talking with Zonky, he said that Outlast wanted to kind of get away from console maps in order to just end the game quicker. Clubhouse is a pure console map. That's one of Band's closest best map, but remember, that's a pure console team. So I'll be interested to see how this game goes and if Outlast actually really do end it quick.
Well, we have our teams and we have our map, and Light Rose is the best at making predictions on this desk, so we're gonna put all the pressure on you to get this right. Which team do you think is gonna win?
Outlast. It's gonna be Outlast. I don't even have to think about that. It's Outlast.
Alright, well, we will have to see if Light Rose is correct, as we're gonna go right into this game. That's all from me for now. Good luck to both teams, and good luck to my casters.
Alright. Well,
she called us her casters.
Yeah. I'll give you the chance since I made my pred. Who do you think? Who do you think's taking this?
I think Outlast. You don't have to ask me.
I want to.
No, I'm not gonna disagree this time because I think with the recent changes that Outlast have made, specifically with Aimkey and Nyx joining the roster, those are 2 vocal players. They add a lot to the communication aspect of the team. For Zonky, he said that they also help with the screaming aspect. They're able to scrim more. Nyx is a better IGO when it comes to in-game calling, I think he said in-game shot calling throughout the whole round compared to Rai shot calling every now and again. So I just think Outlast have more to them on a fundamental map on a team level than Shreds do. That's why.
Yeah. Let's wait for the bands to go forward. Seems that we're
Oh,
gonna have a
Maverick.
pretty typical. Maverick has been making a return in a lot of these bans, just because, you know, the CC wall needs to get open, and a lot of times the Maverick is just kind of the straight-on best way to get rid of that. But if you remember last map, defense was kind of the big thing. Whoever's on defense had a much higher chance of winning due to the play styles of both teams, and it's going to be Outlast who gets start on the basement. They are going to go to the bottom floor, that is the basement, and they're actually going to bring 2 electricity ops. So they're probably going to bring Kaid for the hatches, along with Bandit for the triple wall.
Yeah, so there's going to be more emphasis from Shreds to bring a lot more utility to work around these hatches. I think Gridlock and Capital, I know Capital has them, but I think Gridlock also has the Impact EMPs. You could also bring a Thatcher. I think that's a better option than Impact EMPs, especially if you're not bringing IQ to detect exactly where those Kaid Claws are. And they also brought in the Tuber out alongside this, so that's a lot of reach now that Outlast are playing behind. And this is something that's common with Outlast. They like to play around a lot of stall utility and slow down that clock for the other team.
Attackers are moving out to
Yeah,
locate a bomb and defuse it.
as much as I love Gridlock, I don't think she's very good on Clubhouse, because a lot of times when you're going to be going directly for that roam, you're not going to have to cut off certain angles. A lot of times you're going to kind of circle the boat and then take out that usually singular defender. And that is what's happening here. Outlast have pushed Zonky up those central stairs and probably will fall back very easily, because this is not a playable position. So instead, you kind of waste your operator pick on Gridlock. Like, there are other operators that you can have that have impact EMPs. Thatcher as well. Like, I know this is apparently is a common play for Shreds. Still don't like it.
Yeah. They could have also brought Grim, who also has impact MPs. There's a Nitro as well that you hear beeping. Your eyes don't mistreat you, by the way. They're right on that stairs, so this could blow at any moment. If Shreds misread this, which they probably will, because that's not a common spot for a Nitro to be.
I mean, I guess they're using it as like a... Like, they don't have to focus on the roam, but it's still just so weird of a play, because there's nobody up there. So, I mean, I guess if you're going to use the Super Shorty and use those impact EMPs, then it'll do the job, as there's a lot of defensive utility being traded out. The Zoto canister stopping the hatches, as Zonky still waits around the corner. The Vert isn't going to be able to touch him, but you also have to push down the stairs, so it's a big risk, and Zonky gets the C4 kill, but also dies at the same time. It's direct 1-for-1, and honestly, probably should have got the initial kill to begin with.
I mean, his position on the main stairs just wasted a lot of time. You see how much time Shreds have, and they haven't even gotten Moto Hatch because Dami is still here denying it for the most part. So I think the only hatch that they've gotten open so far was Stock and Kitchen. That is extremely one-dimensional, but at least you have the Capital to help you work the blue pressure, and well, you have some utility with the Gridlock, so be able to open up the Moto Hatch though with the one EMP. Never mind, I lied, they don't do it, and that's kind of a shame because that's what you need.
If only there was an operator who could throw an EMP that went in a bigger radius.
Laser sights, man.
I don't know. Now that hatch is gonna stay closed, and that's gonna allow Dami to play in this exact position. You're essentially putting all your eggs in a singular hatch drop basket, which is not what you want to do on a basement site. It's a 2v1. Where is Nyx looking? That leads it into a 1v1. 10 seconds left. There's no chance now to get down the diffuser, and Dami ends it out on a kill. Way closer than it should have been for Outlast. Potential miscommunications, but still a very awkward round on both sides.
It's very awkward. I mean, they denied the Moto Hatch from getting open using, well, the Kaid Claw, not utilizing the Tuber canisters, even though all of them were gone. They didn't have to do that, I don't think. They wasted just a lot of time. I think that's the biggest issue, is that time was of the essence for Shreds, who didn't have any of it. And because they couldn't get the Moto Hatch open, they then couldn't like run into church because the Moto player was still there. They also got like no blue control. So that whole round from start to finish for Shreds was just extremely difficult for them to complete anyways. Like there was no positives for them. Actually, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, I mean,
To be completely honest.
I'm with you. Like, I don't think there were any good starts to that. But I guess the advantage to losing that site, you don't have to play it for at least 2 more times. The Outlast are going to head to what usually is considered the secondary site. Nowadays, it swaps between primary and secondary depending on what teams you're watching. It's going to be Gym Bedroom. Potentially, I wonder if Nyx is going to be playing directly in Lounge, and it seems he is. There's a couple castle barricades inside of Lounge and inside of Stock. It's also got a couple regular barriers that he can utilize, so we'll see how Shreds adapt to this singular player holding down below.
We've seen this like last game as well. Not exactly with the Lounge position when it comes to cache overextension with Gym and Bedroom. But like, sometimes you'll see defenses treat the cache over extension as if it's like a CCTV cache defense, for example. Like, you'll have somebody playing at Rafters, now you have somebody playing at Lounge, which is usually where the castle plays for a CCTV cache defense. And that's, again, Outlast working to just waste a lot of time here for the attack, who not only get highway control pretty quickly once they get it control, but they utilize it in order to get rid of one castle barricade. That means that the bandit's job on Jacuzzi Breach is going to be a lot harder to do now.
And Rami will take use of that, and Aim Key hesitates for a little bit before eventually deciding to walk away. Does take some damage in the process, and wow! What a play by Reklu! Hopping in and zapping the Black Mirror, meaning that Aim Key cannot play behind it, but it's Zonky who's going to be able to strike first. A trade is directly there. So there's no real advantage that Outlast are able to get, especially because John has been able to destroy a lot of this utility with that Ash charge and almost gets a kill right there.
Oh my god. And honestly, with the window pressure that John has, the Jacuzzi player could have just isolated this gunfight against the bandit, but now with one of them dead, that's a kill over in favor of Outlast, with them now having a 4v3. That's what they're eyeing up now. With that cutoff from John, they're now eyeing up the opportunity to just take Bathroom.
Reklu taking a lot of damage, still doesn't win the fight. Aimkey can reload, will eventually die, but it's still Outlast who have the advantage, and time isn't really a worry here for Shreds. It's more that they don't really have any map control. They didn't take cash. They only ran in through the hot tub wall, and as Rami's in Gym, could potentially plant behind the wall. They have somebody's number. And now locate the remaining 2 inside of Logi. It's Schmink who's hiding behind us. Nyx vaulting, gets the kill, and leaves the singular planting player of Rami in a 1v2. About 35 seconds for these 2 remaining defenders to spot the ace and shut him down. I don't know if they're going to hear that yell, but Schmink pushes into the bedroom, escapes the line of sight, and wins the fight up against Rami. A bit of siege timing there for the lone player, and Outlast. A lot different than the first round, and probably a lot better for them as they close it out.
Yeah, Outlast still had a camera, by the way. That was the default camera in the bedroom hallway, as it's labeled. Just to figure out or get that sound cue, not only through the ace yelping, so the mirror's like right next to it can hear it, but you can also see the ace sort of backing up in view of that camera. So Outlast just had really good intel, and not only that, better positions to stop the plant. That's what stopped Shreds from progressing in the first place. Not like you mentioned earlier, they didn't have cash, they didn't have CC. That means you also don't have construction, and you can play those footholds to absolute perfection to stop a plant there, or to stop the overall rush there from Shreds. And that's exactly what Nyx did in the meantime, as Outlast made that a 2v1. And even though the rounds get very, very close, Outlast they use the intel so well to help these last 2 to 1 players clutch it out.
See the rounds continue to be like this. Or it's like, oh, Outlast, they've got this massive advantage. Surely they don't blow it. And then Shreds come with like inches of winning around, and it's like, oh, okay, maybe we gotta take focus of that. I think for Outlast, it's definitely actually using the man advantage and using the map control, utility advantage, everything that they have had over Shreds, and it's almost come down to nothing within the last 20 seconds of both rounds.
Yeah, it's like little mistakes just come back to haunt Shreds. They didn't get Moto Hatch open. It was eventually the Moto player that ended the round for Outlast. They never got any cash and CC control, and so thus don't have any construction. That's the construction player that ends the round for Outlast, or the Logi player that ends the round for Outlast.
How did we miss
in their
that?
favor? So, wow.
How did
That is... What is he doing?
I just don't know how he missed the MP. It was kind of comical, but I don't know. Dami's got to be careful there, because already you lost Nyx in what was a pretty suey engagement early on. I want to force the attack to kind of work through a lot of the utility. And now Dami is kind of stuck. You push through garage, there's a player looking through the quad walls. You push through lounge, there's a player directly watching you from bar. Inky's gonna get one. He can get the second. And now Shreds wondering where do they go from here. They have one Selma and one hard recharge, but no EMPs that they can utilize. They wasted one on the garage lower walls, and they don't have any impact EMPs. All they can rely on is quad going underneath and getting a kill.
What?
The direct trade. It's still Outlast who have the advantage, and now Zonky's gonna peek up and get that kill. Once again, I feel like Outlast should be way farther ahead, and yet they're not.
Yeah, and I mean, now Deimos has to sneak his way up Raptors. This should not really be a 2v1 just because of the lack of utility, Shreds said. I'm completely with you. But now it's Young John all by himself in Raptors. He has this control, and he has to try and isolate these gunfights against the last two Outlast players.
Has the death marks, but I don't know if that's going to help you. Zonky? Zonky? Okay. A little scary as Zonky chunks a lot of HP away. Unfortunately, you are not going to win. Two Outlast members peeking you at the exact same time. And it's the exact same thing, Chaka. Where Shreds, the attack looks pitiful. You know, they don't have utility advantage, they don't have the man advantage. And yet it comes down to a very winnable moment that Outlast are able to not sneak away with, but walk away with unabated.
Yeah, I mean, luckily they weren't able to get Shreds weren't able to get lounge control because of that earlier kill onto the Capitale, so it made it easier for Zonky to go down red and kill the players going up to take Raptors control earlier on, and also made it easier for Outlast to then be in that 2v1 to again win it out, because Shreds don't really have any other advantages in that round. I mean, again, they don't open the platform, they don't open anything. It's just straight gunfights, and I don't know how I feel about it.
We are bottom T3, so like
I can't help but feel disappointed still, though.
Yeah, it's kind of what you expect. I mean, what I was talking earlier with Lumi, where it's like when it is not demanded of you that you play any differently, that you play with more cohesion, then why should you change everything? Outlast have won 3 rounds now, really just running a lot of these basics, running, you know, very simple trades and one-on-ones, and Shreds have just been none the wiser. They haven't made any adaptations.
Yeah, it's just been the same thing over and over again. Like, it's fundamental things. I talked about Clubhouse being a fundamental map. Hatches, opening hatches, getting rid of the Kai clause is fundamental. Clearing this roam, which they're now in the process of doing, there's an open hatch there and a player on top of it. That's fundamental. That's what you have to do in club.
What is Romeo's addiction to the gridlock here? I will not understand it. They do have the Thatcher, though. And they have the advantage. It's Ainke playing a very far away. And it's like, why are we placing gridlock tracks there? You've got the roamer. Like, it's so useless that it's like there's no point in harping on it, right? Like, it's like, okay, it doesn't hurt you, but how does it help you? You have 5 operators you can bring. You've got the roamer. Why are we track sticking the stairs?
To be fair, I think this is gonna hurt Shreds in the end because, like you said, there's better operators to run. Like, they don't have Capitale this round.
Sophia,
right?
Capitale,
yeah, they don't have Ash for Miras. Grim would have also been better. He also has impact MPs. He's good. He's great, actually, for going for a blue execute, which is a win condition for most attacks in this map, on this site.
And the EMP is going to combo with the Selma detonating, so the Black Mirror will go down. And now Dami just has to hide behind this half wall. Rami to strike. It's a 2v5. Dami is just holding right behind the half wall. Prone. No ID. He's there. He's going to pop up. Gets one. Gets the second. And now, with the diffuser, holds the pistol. It's a 2v2. Nixon, Dami gets the wall, and Dami gets the kill with the pistol. Leaving John with not much HP. If Nyx plays a smoke canister right, then Shreds will lose their 4th attack in a row. It's not a ton of information, but they know where the diffuser is. Now Nyx is going to play mind games with the sound. Out goes the smoke. Doesn't get the right position! And John avoids a 2v5 disaster for Shreds. And they eke away an attacking round win.
Oh my god! What is going on? First you have, like, whatever happened in church happened. Shreds get the opening pick. They're allowed to then take site control just by opening up the church wall. It makes it harder to play inside. It begins the collateral of start of the kills that happen for Shreds from church wall, and then they just don't know about the guy on bar. Yeah, I'm gonna be completely honest. Also, in the 1v1, I felt like Nyx probably should have heard that. You know he's gonna plant.
He had the second smoke.
Yeah, he had a second smoke. Habana was low on HP. And he just lost the gunfight because he swung it when he could have played that a lot more passively. Remember, the Habana still had a bunch of time left. By the time it was a 1v1, there was still 50 seconds left in that round for the Habana to make Nyx do something. And boy, did he do something.
Yeah, I'm kind of balancing between, is that just hindsight or is that genuine criticism that we can give? Because we don't know what Nyx knew. Like, if the planter was going down, whether or not she was sticking. All we know is what we literally saw on the screen. And, I mean, we can criticize Nyx all we want. Shreds almost lost a 2v5. Like,
Yeah.
So
player hiding behind, like...
Yeah, we can't really say, oh, wow, Nyx, how did you not win that 1v1 when Shred should not have been in that situation to begin with.
Also true. Yeah.
We're gonna pause for, I believe it's game audio issues for Rami. So we are having a little technical pause. We'll see if we have to go to a break, because obviously we're just kind of waiting. All the operators are staring directly at you.
This is very intimidating.
I mean, they are supposed to be intimidating. Except Fenrir, I don't... He's kind of... Oh. Alright. We're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Right.
Welcome back. We have returned from our break. It's given Outlast enough time to mentally prepare for what they want to do in this round, because clearly in the last round, something was not going right. I think they were pushing up to shreds a bit too much. Aim key, was that opening kill? Is that needed? A lot of questions that are needed to be answered by round 5.
I'm gonna be completely honest, I cannot remember how Inky died.
It was inside of Khan. He was mute.
I remember now. Yeah. Oh, cause like, yeah, they sneaked in from strip, they saw the hatch open, they briefly saw us head upstairs, and a highway player cut him off.
Yeah.
As he was trying to run through bedroom. Yeah, okay, I remember now. Yeah, probably not needed. But I mean, he also was he was trying to get away. So I understand. It's like, why would somebody just randomly be on highway? That
We
usually
have
just
now-
doesn't happen.
We've now changed from Thatcher back to Ash, Chaka. Which means we get to see if Rovio can play the impact EMPs right. My favorite game.
My favorite game. Also, no mirror on the board, so there's like nothing immediately for the Ash to like counter. But I mean, still a great gun to have on the board. Here you also have like one reaching charge. You can make vert above the main stairs is exactly what they do in order to deny this main stairs position, which is cleared considerably earlier than it was the last time they played this basement round. Compared to when Zonky played on that stairs, he wasted over a minute and got a kill.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of times it was also a death, so
Yeah.
that's kind of like a big trade-off, especially with Zonky being on the Fenrir. You know, the ability to rotate those F-Knots can be pretty important. So I don't need the impact EMPs for the kitchen hatch, simply because you play the kind of X-Kairos on the corner. It's able to get those kills. Schmink gets a kill onto Quap, into dirt as well, so that is an angle that is denied by the defense.
Not playing deep into AKs like you usually would see a Warden play, but that's still a very pivotal position to play in, especially when you want to try and utilize these smoke grenades to walk down this hallway, for example. The Warden can see right past it and stop the whole push in their track. So it looks like they want to just drop down a kitchen hatch, but that's usually inadvisable because of the positions that Outlast are currently holding by dirt and by blue.
All positioning around the kitchen hatch drop. Out goes the smoke. Breach charge detonated. Hatch drop has been secured, but everything past that seems to not be going well, and Rami is blinded, been flashed, and now on a single bit of HP. It's just up to Romeo, who did not commit to the hatch drop, and nothing is going to come of that. So the adaptations, I mean, I don't even feel like they did a lot of adaptations, and Shred still just kind of hit themselves over and over again.
Yeah, again, an extremely one-dimensional push. There was almost no effort to work blue, something that Shreds, honestly, because they bring the gridlock quite a bit, you don't see them go for blue pressure. It's just a front side hit. If they can't get open the church wall and find pick space off of that, then it's usually just a hatch drop like we just saw there. And they got completely smoked because you didn't clear dirt because the Ash died. And you also have presence in church with the church wall still fully closed by Outlast. There's no pressure by church. And so they could just, like, they can hold crossfires against you from church, from the dummies position, from dirt, and that's exactly what Outlast do. And they completely denied that hash drop from Shreds, who had nowhere else to go.
It's kind of crazy because that's a site where you have a lot of options on what to do. You've got kitchen hatch, moto hatch, main stairs, blue, dirt. That's 5.
10 seconds left.
5 areas of entries that you can have, and Shreds in almost every single round have chosen 1 to 2 at most. Either been main stairs or the kitchen drop. There's a lot to be desired with their attacks as the basement. Their only round win coming off of staving a 2v5 clutch from Outlast. They would now have to attack this gym site, working through CCTV and Zonky, who's been a bit of a nightmare on the entry, Chaka.
Yeah, I think. Oh, well, he did get 2 opening picks in the first 2 rounds. So yeah, quite a nightmare for Outlast, not only towards the beginning, but also in clutch situations later on in the round. For Shreds, not for Outlast because he's on their team. And he's been quite an impact for them, you know, carrying them through rounds by himself. And that's something that Shreds have to worry about because they've been giving up so many multi-kills to Zonky specifically, and I feel like that's something that they gotta watch out for, especially when they're up at a main advantage.
They have the Twitch, which we saw Recluse Twitch play before, and I think that I can't tell if that got destroyed from the Ash Charge or not, but Young John gets revived, but Nyx makes sure that that does not happen, and now your highway player has been gone. That's having to be filled by somebody else. And so far, nobody has really worried about Nyx down below. It's once again a very one-dimensional push from this team.
I don't know if you saw it, but they also had a Wamai disc on that gym window, by the way.
Yep.
So the Ash Charge couldn't even take care of that of the castle barricade on the gym door. Thank you. And so that kind of delays this breach from being open, but that doesn't stop the Finka from walking in.
No idea. That's the bathroom entry. Almost gets another one. Does get downed. There is an adrenaline surge that can be utilized, and that does mean that Quack gets revived. The C4 only does damage to Schmink. And the ITAS isn't going to help you when you have somebody directly to your right.
Where's the logic?
Tommy barely stays alive from the SMG-12. And now Shreds, they've got a lot of control. Can they keep it? Nightmare Nyx in the 1v4. He only gets 1. Shreds get another round. It's a massive collapse onto the site, and a big part thanks to Quack on the Finka.
Yeah, I don't understand how he's allowed to just walk up main stairs with, like...
I mean, yeah, do we have the bedroom cam?
You said what?
Do we have the bedroom hallway cam? Is that
I don't think they had the bedroom hallway cam. But they also just have, like... Yeah, I mean, 0 trap ops, by the way. So, like, 0 utility, no barbed. They have nothing by main stairs. So he's allowed to walk up main. Yes, Jacuzzi Breach takes a long time to open, but he just walks up main, and nobody from Outlast is none the wiser. There's nobody on the Logi door ready for a gunfight because they don't know he's there, because they have nothing on the main stairs to alert them to his position.
I think it's something that costs you if you're Outlast, because seem to be going well. I mean, you deny breach of the castle barricade. It's Shreds. Everybody's having to run through the hot tub wall. It's almost Shreds run the clown car style of attack, where they have a point of entry, and then everybody just stuffs themselves in that singular point of entry. The kitchen hatch drop on kitchen, hot tub wall on gym. There's no other layers to their attacks. But luckily they're in the defense, so it doesn't really matter now.
That round just kind of gobsmacked me because I didn't realize that Outlast had like nothing for intel.
It's like as you're saying, it's like whoa.
Until the replay showed me. So, you know, thank God for replays, I guess. I don't know. Cool. It's gonna be Outlast starting us. Wow. That was so mean, Zay. It's gonna be Outlast starting us off on the attack. They have vertical this round. Not only through the ram, but somebody that doesn't make many appearances is the Fuse. But they have players to deal with up above, so they might have to turn this into a full clear sometime soon because yeah, if somebody's in a Logi, they're gonna have a hard time just walking into kitchen.
You know what I see Fuse used for sometimes? It's a singular clear of con wall. So you breach that open, and with Fuse's hard breach charges, you open that up. Schmink, pretty important engagement, spots Reclu. Well, just wait it out. That's information given on over to the attack, and now that that's expired, we'll push up. Reclu walks away, and it's John to find Dami. And And Reclun now is in a corner, but Schmink won't push. There's literally nowhere for Reclun to go. I mean, walkout highway.
Tracker on hostile.
No impact EMP, no impacts for the hatch. They do get the kill. So I would have had a lot of criticisms if they would have not gotten that, and I think that's a huge misplay from Nyx. Singular Blackbeard alone, not the play.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, that's why you usually have a double push down con. Now that Blackbeard is dead, that's kind of like one of your win cons. Gone for Outlast. It's also the dirt pressure. You have a man disadvantage now going into your execute with no real control elsewhere around the map. So this is going to be considerably hard for Outlast.
Ooh, Schmink collecting yet another. I think Zonky was so close to gonna kill onto Romeo with that Capital Fireball, but now that's out and only have the smokes to work with.
The attacker's bomb diffuser has
2
been
players in
dropped.
kitchen. One over by the kitchen
Attackers
entrance.
recovered the bomb diffuser.
Is this going to be just a triple hatch drop from Outlast? I think Schmink may be going over to the stairs to provide a different point of entry as they're waiting for the attack. Smoke is out. Hatch is dropped. Down goes one player. And Anki is on the ground floor, but will not survive. And it shreds to clean it up. They're 1 round away from striking distance. If Outlast can't figure out their attacks, they might be ending up at a loss.
It's just 1 round now separating both of the teams. That last round was kind of like an example that I wanted to spotlight about Outlast's attack. The original plan doesn't go the way that they want it. Maybe they lose a body. Then they kind of like struggle to come together to figure out a good solution for the end of round. It's most evident on their attacks because attack is generally harder to figure out on Siege than defenses. And in that round, like, they just lost their Blackbeard and Blue, and Dirt. And you not only have no dirt pressure, you give that position up, and you just go for a kitchen hash drop. I think 1 by 1. So, yeah, Outlast just kind of not really coming together to find an optimal solution. The Deimos got a kill into dirt, and then he just left it for the Kai to play in there and just denied the kitchen hash drop for Outlast as they tried to go for that execute.
10 seconds to insertion.
Welcome to Crucible Groups, Day 7, where nobody knows how to attack. Saw it in the last game. Then Shreds didn't really know how to do it on their attack. I've got a fear, Chaka, that Outlast are gonna have the exact same issues on their attack, and we saw how split they were in the previous one. Still on the Blackbeard, so maybe they'll be able to keep Nyx with a buddy of sorts. That's what you want for Blackbeard. And the reason is because it is a slow time for Blackbeard to ADS, and in that amount of time, the defender that he's engaging with most likely is already ADS'd. Simply wait because they're waiting for Blackbeard to unsheath the shield. But clearly, new round, new day, new strategies. As there's nobody bandit tricking the hot tub wall like we saw Outlast do a lot of these times. This should be a pretty good breach and clear for this attacking team.
They just missed the initial. It looked like they missed the initial EMP. The second one will for sure hit. And that means Jacuzzi Breach is open. And so I wonder now from Shreds, while they have the Jacuzzi Breach open, their working bathroom, are they now going to go to the opposite side and start working in opposite overclear? Because that would be a good thing. If so, it makes your push less one-dimensional, and it doesn't make it so easily telegraphed like we saw so many times from Outlast in previous games of theirs.
Ooh, Romeo could get a nice little play here. C4 goes out. Doesn't go through the drone hole, but he is able to get the first kill and actually drops the diffuser. It's Schmink for the trade, and now Anki onto Highway could be a menace as they just have to deal with Romeo, who's still behind weights! And Nyx seemed like this was the team that had it all. All they had to deal with was the Mira, who's finally dealt with. The amount of HP that Nyx is on is not going to help him in this situation. Does a little bit of damage onto Reclu. Throws a drone for a bit of information onto a player potentially going for that Master Stairs rotate. Drone is shot. And now Nyx holds the angle onto the chassis. C4 is out. And Nyx is gone from existence, tied up at 4, and yet another attacking round that, wow, we rebounded that thing. And we're all tied up.
Just another attacking round that, like, again, it really felt like Outlast at least had, like, some sort, not, I say another attacking round, it's again, it felt like they had the advantage this round, when they went into bathroom and got bathroom control, and they got the opening 2 picks there, but they just kind of let Romeo unattended and Jim by weights on the weights. Unattended for a good chunk of that round. They sent somebody to deal with them over by Highway. They gave up an isolated engagement. Then they sent in another one from Jacuzzi. Also another isolated engagement. And they really had like no good teamwork. Despite having him pinned in Jim with the Jacuzzi breach open, he had nowhere to run. There really should really be no reason why Outlast doesn't kill him. And yet he finds all avenues of escape to find 3 kills in that round.
5 seconds to go.
So many situations where it's like, okay, this team's got everything. No, they're playing well. All they need to do is get a kill on a person in one particular spot, and then they can't. I think that's been Outlast's woes almost the entire game on defense and on attack. And now in attack, those woes are going to be exacerbated so because attack is just a lot more difficult than the defense. What we've seen with how many attacking wins have been won today? I think 4, maybe. Trust Reds 2. I think a couple on 1 HP. It hasn't been a lot. It's been defense who's really dominated almost the entire day so far.
Yeah, I mean, also Clubhouse is replayed so many times, but it's still extremely defender-sided. Outlast starts us off at least over by Garage, opening up the bottom garage walls in order to use the Capital effectively against the Raptors player. And I believe there's only just the one player, and that's Red Glue playing with the DMR. So, yeah. And there's also nobody holding his lounge, so they could probably just walk in here and pinch this Raptors player quite effectively, not only using the Capital utility, but also the positioning here in lounge that the Buck already has.
Using the Selma underneath, that is a unique concept. Potentially could like trigger the bandit to go like, oh, I gotta go to the wall, which then Aim Key steps in with the skeleton key and gets the job done. The Kite Electroclaw been placed in advance as Aim Key is not even ADS'd. I don't exactly know what we're doing there. You gotta be thankful that Schmink is there for the kill onto Quack, and come on! There is absolutely no situation where you should be walking out absolutely un-ADS. At least, come. It's
oh my god.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's what we call not ideal.
If you're being
and they also
nice,
lose the garage. Yeah. They also lose the garage player as a result of that. This makes this round a lot easier for Outlast. They can just walk into garage with the platform breach open. Oh, wow. Really? Oh.
Outlast, once again, in a situation where they have advantages. Man count, map control, utility. Do they blow it? Player in garage. That's Tommy now. Player rotating on over to Highway. See some pings going off. I think that should be onto Romeo, who just does not budge. And that will lead to his death. Because with 15 seconds left, yeah, you heard it. Robbie has a C4 and has a good position. Downs the player, gets another one. Schmink is on 10. He'd have to get 11 to clutch this one out. But with no diffuser, he has to go all the way to the first floor. And Robbie can hide away. Are you kidding me, Outlast? It was a 3v1. And yet you still lose to NBA Youngboy Robbie. You've played an Element before.
I can't believe that. I can't. Like, Shreds basically gifted them that round. They played way too aggressively on a platform breach. Romeo's still in the bomb chassis despite his position being clear, and Outlast being given garage control, and somebody moving outside of the vents windows. They just gave up way too many ones there. And I understand for the ace in the last 1v1, he's the one with the fuser. The Tuberal has the nitro cell. He has to chase him down because if he plants, he's dead. Your best chance to win that round is to chase the Tuberal down to kill him. That's what he tries to do, but he ran out of time. I just don't understand it.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Attacks
10
are
seconds left.
not anybody's strong suit for Outlast. I think that's like 4 rounds now, because I think you can count the first 2, maybe the first 3, as rounds where they've had the advantage, and Shreds have come within inches of getting the round win, and just like last round, they get the win where they clearly shouldn't. Outlast overall been a very, very bad game for them. Despite the fact that they're only 1 round down, I think it should be a lot worse than that.
Yeah, I think I'm completely flabbergasted after that game. I mean, after, not the game, sorry. The game isn't over after that round. So we'll see what happens in this round because, again, I mean, Outlast get full map control. I would say full map control. There's still somebody on the second floor that's regularly playing around the Scopo, so I'm not too surprised that that's the case. And I wonder if Outlast actually know about this because if he's able to get a flank off, that could be huge for finding a man advantage here for Shreds.
The thing is, I think they destroyed the other shell for Reclu. But I believe that's what that, or at least I don't actually know 100% what that icon means for Scopos. They've spotted the Scopos, who's going to impact the garage wall. I wonder what that is going to mean, because now you have opened up a line of sight and made it so that you are going to die. Shreds get the entry death. Into 60 seconds left. Only now are Outlast actually working the hatch, and Dami has to play this close to heart. Because, you know, you saw the shots through the floor. The C4 now detonated as well. There's 2 in the pocket of these remaining Shreds players. He's gonna make the leap. Will get through, and this hatch should get open. So that is an area of entry for Outlast. Even though we did see some Electro Claws get deployed, Outlast are still taking this way too close, and now they've lost Schmink. How is this team going to respond? Do they have anywhere to go besides this kitchen drop? It's going to be Dirt using the Blackbeard to push away this Kaid. Has to walk away. And there's Dami for the clear. I think Outlast, with the map control they've got, should be able to clear this out. They don't lose anybody vital. It's only Rami once again in a 1v3. It's absolutely possible, but he can't look both ways at the same time. And Outlast keep away the demons. And they tied up on 5. We are guaranteed max regulation.
Yeah, even though this game doesn't necessarily matter for neither team, they're still playing like it does. And in that last round, Outlast utilized the Blackbeard by playing around it, actually going through that third execute and making it much harder for Shreds, who were most notably in very isolated positions around their site, making it easier for the Blackbeard to do his job properly. They just got full site control off of the Kaid dying almost immediately. That made it easier for Outlast to then go for their site execute, and thus now we finally get to see Outlast win their first attacking round after 2 very rough runs, and they didn't even need like attack timeout to get that one. So that was actually like really good.
Yeah, that was 4 in a row for Shreds. So
Oh yeah.
I was getting scary. But I think there's still adjustments to be made for Outlast. That last round was a good adaptation, but you need to follow through. Make it so that when you do put yourselves in a situation like what we just saw, that maybe you get it with a bit more time. Maybe you end up with more men at the end of the round in general instead of just leaving it in a 2v1. Because that's still winnable. We saw Rami do even more than that. So I think they have to get some sort of cushion in between them and Shreds if they want to walk away with it.
Yeah, and let's see if Outlast keep making like mistakes, specifically during that execution, because I noticed that's when it happens a lot of the time for them. They get put in a spot where they have to execute, and they just kind of panic and they have no composure to them. So hopefully they can work a good early round here, starting off with the cache and CC clear if that's what they're going for. Work the picks on this opposite side of the map and then keep it pushing. It looks like that they want to just try, with the way that the Thermite is positioned on the other side of the map, to go for this cache over clear while working Jacuzzi at the same time.
And you see a pretty typical take. I mean, somebody's on highway, they cover the wall so that the bandit doesn't trick it. I mean, we saw this from Outlast last time. How are they going to change it? Because you've got Quack underneath. And there's also some players in Garage, Reklu, and then Rami is also extending out over to cache. They're playing very far away from the actual site. And Outlast haven't given any indication that they have set their sights anywhere but the site.
Listen, Nade going in. Now the rest of Outlast have just completely overwhelmed the site. That's a bathroom player now dead. Outlast don't really have site control with the diffuser because the diffuser is now set in bathroom. This means that now that they have this site control, they've completely pushed off Shreds, who are now just sitting in construction. No retake onto site until now. Reklu finds two. Dami with the follow-up, and Reklu's still in the middle of Jim on the waist with that diffuser.
They didn't have the coverage, and that makes it so that the plant was going down, and it was a very weak plant. And it leaves Ainke in a 1v2, does spot Quack. They'll fake the plant. C4 is ripped, and Shreds push up. They have reached map and match point, and an awkward engagement. Outlast clearly were trying to get a rush play, push the mirror in the bathroom who they know was there, and then take advantage of the fact that the rest of Shreds were off site, but they didn't have correct angles to actually cover it. So that way, Quack is able to simply walk through the rotate, get the kill on the Blackbeard, and then go somewhere else. You can kind of see this in the fact, or excuse me, it wasn't Quack, it was Reklu. But that's an angle that should be covered if Outlast wants to have this plan.
Yeah, once the bathroom player leaves, I feel like there should be more proactivity from Ainke on the highway windows, for example, to be actively covering that cross, because I think I don't know where he's looking at. I think he's looking towards his cache window to see if somebody runs out on him, and it just seems very weird that it's not very weird that that's the priority. It just feels very weird that there's like no communication around there maybe not being anyone in cache, or hey, look, I'm leaving bathroom, I need somebody to hold the rotate because Ace is in no position to do it, or whatever. It just didn't really feel like there was any communication in the execution there from Outlast, despite the good initial control that they got.
Attacker's objective is to defuse a
I think
bomb.
it's a good example of Outlast in the entirety of this series. They have no support for each other at all. It makes these pushes very, very bleak and weak, one-dimensional, whatever you want to call it. They're not good. And Shreds are able to kind of run circles around them a lot of the times because Outlast are not playing well and not having the coverage. They're not doing a lot. Shaka. This is alone. It'd have some drones to get a general purview of this position. You can see he encounters a player. It's going to be a 1v1 that could potentially decide the fate. But as I say that, Shimmick is there for the assist.
Yep, they clear out with the Blackbeard. They figure out that at least above the kitchen and bar area, the vert surrounding it is clear for the meantime. And actually, now with the rest of them spreading out, taking more map control, the rest of the map is clear here for Outlast to take. They can now work the vertical with the ram being above the main hallway. That can make it easier to go for a kitchen hatch drop execute, because you can kill any nitro cell players that's in church to deny the plant or deny the hatch drop using the nitro cell. You can deny a player just standing or trying to get aggressive on the doorway to deny the hatch drop as well, along with that nitro cell player. Yeah, I mean, right now Outlast look like they're in a good spot, but we said that before with them getting good map control and getting some opening picks, and they just mess up in the execution. So we need to see more cohesiveness when it comes to that execution, because when it has come, it hasn't looked too good.
It can't mess up on the execution. We're too close to the tipping point. Shreds win one more. It's over. Kitchen hatch is open. Moto hatch is not. Rom can play underneath this and potentially just watch the main stairs. We wouldn't spot the black beard. We didn't really do anything from that, but as the Thatcher MP goes out, Zoto Cannon is going to be utilized. There's still 3 in Rami's pocket that are going to be used to simply delay this hatch from being open, which delays Outlast actually getting any drop of sorts. There's another Zoto canister. Surprise, Outlast. You now have to essentially walk down the main stairs or kitchen. Moto hatch is not going to be an option. Now a Zoto canister will be used to cover the entrance to delay the attack even further. But they're in the site. How does Shreds allow this? It's a 4v2. Does anybody have the coverage? No, they don't. Romeo drops the diffuser, and Rami in a 1v2 does have the C4. Can he single-handedly win this game as we've hit triple digits? Can he get an angle? He can't. Diffuser is down. Spots aim key. Rotating. Schmink is in a precarious amount of HP. One bullet can drop this Capitao. C4 is going to be used for the rotate. A big line of sight, but now isn't watching the hall. And aim key collects on the kill. Scary, Shaka. It's always been scary for Outlast, but I guess that's where they thrive as we're heading to overtime.
Yeah, I'm just as surprised as you were during the round as well when they just dropped into hatch and got like a bunch of kills. Again, time has been an issue for Outlast throughout this whole entire game, but they just dropped down the kitchen hatch, and AMK just gets like a bunch of kills and a bunch of value just from dropping a singular hatch. And it didn't seem like anybody from Shreds, at least in the arsenal or in the arsenal room, were in good positions to stop the hatch drop. Not even in church, probably due to the vertical angles. And so it allowed Outlast to just use that space that they made through the vertical to go for an efficient hatch drop, find kills in the process. Yeah, losing bodies towards the end, but they still made the execute count, and that's all that matters.
One thing you and I have learned from these past 2 games, it doesn't really matter how you get there, because a lot of these rounds have been so ugly and just back and forth brawls. I think we might have a rehost. It was in prep phase, so we could potentially get that. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we are having internet issues. It's kind of unfortunate because we're on overtime. We're ready to get into the game, and now we just gotta wait.
And I don't really think they specified in chat.
They said game froze, so I think it's a technical issue. And we also saw Quack running in the same place over and over again.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're gonna do a quick break. On your turn, it's gonna be the conclusion of match 2 between Shreds and Outlast. we have returned in a overtime game between Outlast and Shreds. If you're wondering what the stakes are, there are none. This game literally does not matter at all to anybody. And yet it's still going to overtime.
Probably gonna go into max OT as well. Like-
Both of them suck on the attack. Probably.
Attackers
Yeah.
locate-
Outlast start on OT attack too, and like while they did win that last round, they still just have a lot of issues, especially with their time management. And I don't see, while I see the tuber out here, I don't see enough from Shreds to suggest that they're gonna play into like late round. Actually, you know what? I lied to myself. So I do see the nitro cells, but if they can like convert that and use it on first floor, which is what some teams do when they're defending gym and bedroom, and wait for an execution to happen from Outlast, there could be a way to effectively use these nitro cells to win a round for Shreds. But that's only if they do that.
I'm looking at Schmink on the blitz.
Out to defuse a bomb.
I'm looking, keeping an eye on that. Last time Outlast had Blackbeard, they pushed through Hottab after opening it and tried to get a very fast plant down. They didn't have coverage, which then allowed Rekulu to sneak in through the rotate and get the kill. So a lot of potential for this Outlast attack. Currently attacked Jim twice and lost it twice. And you would think with the Cali holding onto Highway and the Thatcher as well, that this wall is going to get open and relatively quickly.
Yep, you also have the Cali lances too to help with this. That'll also, if you can apply pressure from the highway windows, which is why the Cali's going there in the first place, is pretty good. They might even go be a set play with the blitz. What is this?
Yeah. Nyx is in strip. So that could potentially be a late play, and I'm not seeing any fast plays. I say that Schmink is inside and dead. So what? Well, what's the plan here, Outlast? Schmink rushed in, had absolutely no coverage from the player in Highway. Maybe we should have had that. Just thought.
Where's his cover, man? He just dies almost immediately. Aimkey just jumps in through the window. Outlast are feeding Shreds isolated gunfights.
Look, I know Wow! Nyx! I was gonna say Outlast have said they don't really care, but clearly Nyx has had some fire in his heart. He gets the third. Can he pivot to 4, maybe 5? As it's Quack who takes some damage, and now a 2v2. Drami and Quack. 2 impacts to the pocket of Quack, 1 C4, which is going to be detonated, and now just a singular player alone gets the pistol kill. Has about 20 seconds, and 3 Zotos that can be thrown, and would probably be a big help to slow out the speed. It is going to be used. Now the diffuser is going to be hopped on. Goes off of it just for a second. Dami rotates. Needs to waste time for 7 more seconds. Rami is sticking, and Dami gets the kill. Outlast win their first gym attack, excuse me. They actually go up 7-6.
Yeah, despite like giving up isolated gunfights towards the beginning of that round with the blitz running in, dying almost immediately to bathroom player, highway window player jumping in with no cover. All it took was a player walking up main. We literally saw this in the last game. There's almost no trap operators here for Shreds in order to give them any info on what might be going on by red or by main stairs. That allows Nyx to get 2 kills, free up the bathroom position and the weights position so that Outlast can effectively plant and take that round.
Getting that attacking round is big, because that's their 3rd attacking round of the entire series. They're able to eke out their 2nd on round 12. So, because now as we push forward into the basement defense of Outlast, we'll see if Shreds have any change that they want to bring. I'm seeing a Ying, an Osa, a Yana, and a Blackbeard. Maybe That's a dirt push. It's risky. I think bringing the OSA now with 3 C4s is a bit scary.
I also just think that yeah, I mean, they brought the Black Leader, that's what I was going to talk about. But again, they could have brought more utility like Grim for the AK's position if you really want to go super dimensional and just do dirt yourself. For dummies even, just to give you more information on the rush. Again, Shreds don't really opt to bring in a lot of utility for these basement attacks. Like Capital, like Grim, they only brought the Capital 1 round. And it's kind of doomed them to go for these extremely one-dimensional attacks and go for really gimmicky plays that don't really work against Outlast.
Swapping mags!
And Reklu is going to drone himself in. Rami is over by Strips. We could see those two meet up to then start working the kitchen hallways. There is 3 breaching charge in the pocket of Rami. Bringing the Nomad for no roamers. Remind you, there are exactly 0 players that are playing off-site, and Rami is going to use every single air jab to cover those areas, which there will be no defenders. A good play there by Kwok using the frag grenade, but the C4 trades it on out. Explosive utility for explosive utility, and I think now we're all even as both teams take a bit of a pause.
I don't know if you see the lineup here, V, but they've also not brought in a single hard breacher apart from the hard breach charges from Romeo. That means that they don't have an ace. They have no way to deny the bandit. They can't open up triple wall by church to apply more pressure to the church players. So that means going for the hatch drop in kitchen or going for this one-dimensional play through dirt is going to be extremely hard without any other control or additional pressure. Once again, making the attack here for Shreds extremely one-dimensional.
The only play would be if Rami goes, which I don't even think that's going to happen. Me when I'm in an attack different areas challenge and my opponent is Shreds. Like, you're not winning that. It's going to be possibly a 4-man drop. Romeo is dead. There is 1 C4 in the pocket of Dami, and I think John will be able to use this Talon shield as coverage for the plant. Currently 3v4. There's no Outlast members pushing up. Shreds might be able to get this down, and they do. It's 3v2. Just the singular player of Reklu now, who has to stave off all these defenders, does spot Dami underneath, and then the Zoto canisters are going to be utilized to track the footsteps. A rarity seen, and through the floor, it's Outlast. They go to overtime, and they do not drop a single round, taking Shreds and keeping them all the way at the bottom of the standings.
Took them all the way to OT after confirming a 4-2 half. And Outlast, they did struggle on their attacks, but boy, did Shreds struggle harder. Man, my hands is in my head. I'm grabbing my hair. I can't, like, this is stressing me out. Because again, it's like these one-dimensional attacks from Shreds just keep biting them in the butt. And I mean, they get into play-ins. They're going to be playing up against really decent teams like JJ or whoever else they get matched with in the play-ins. I don't know who. We'll see once they come around tomorrow, once that bracket is set. But yeah, again, it's these one-dimensional attacks for Shreds that kept happening over and over and over again, and it didn't bring enough utility for these basement attacks, which ultimately doomed them in the end.
They're going to be playing JJ's team in the play-ins to then go to the playoffs. We'll see if they've got a shot. It would be pretty difficult. But as we bring in our host, Lumi, as we close out the second game, I hope you enjoyed sitting back and watching an overtime spectacle.
That was quite a nail-biter. Probably our closest match of the night for the one that had the least long-term effects, right? Both of these teams were already locked in their positions, but they still duked it out here tonight. It was a great match from both of them. Obviously, Outlast starting on their defensive half, getting that 4-2 split, and then kind of dropping the ball a little bit. That's when I got a little nervous. Shred's starting to pick up the ball. We went into overtime, had that tech pause. I keep trying to say timeout and pause together. But Outlast did manage to close it out. Chaka, what do you think Outlast was doing better tonight than Shreds?
I don't really know because I thought like both were just equally not too great on the attack. So
Oh,
being
no.
completely honest, I'll just say like they just had more individual prowess, more better individual plays than Shreds did, which ultimately led them to win most of their rounds. Like we mentioned Zonky throughout that whole game. Nyx had that one 3K or 2K walking up the main stairs and freeing up sight for a plant, which ultimately led to a win for Outlast. But that's about it. I can only just think about the individuals in that game.
Yeah, kind of speaking about the individuals more, Light Rose, since these teams were so, kind of even and we had similar issues with one-sided pushes, do you think that there was one player on one of the teams who stood out for better or for worse?
The Rami, I think, in a lot of these clutches, or as he's known, probably was potentially a difference maker. I mean, getting these clutches, making them down to the final seconds in a lot of these situations, definitely kept Shreds in it. And now we'll see if Rami shows up in the games going forward.
Yeah, well, speaking of the games going forward, we are about to take one more quick break tonight before bringing you guys our last game of Playday 7, which will be Space Tubes versus Team Cruelty. So don't go too far, we will be back right after this break.